Good afternoon, Black people. Hope everybody's having a good day so far today. I won't keep you very long here today, but I do want to begin to go over our as we work towards the finish line. I appreciate how hard everybody has worked this semester and hanging in there and having submitted the method summary. And if you, a couple of you emailed me, yes, you can definitely still submit it. You can submit anything to the stage, anything that you're behind on or didn't get a chance to submit. If it's not letting you on e-learning, let me know. You can email it to me. But any assignment throughout the semester, you can still submit. So obviously you won't get full credit at this stage, but it's better than no points. And everything that's been submitted will be fully updated. One second here. Everything that has been submitted to this stage will be fully updated in the grade book over the weekend, but you can still continue to submit things. But as we work towards the finish line, you all have really only one more thing to do, and that's the final paper and the accompanying presentation. You should have gotten links today. I'll send you the Zoom. I'll include the Zoom links in there, but you should have gotten Zoom links today that show you when your presentation is. And on here, it says April 15th, but I think I'm going to give y'all the April 22nd to do the final paper. I'll give you all the April 22nd. Or do y'all want to have it due on the 15th? Or the 8th even? It's up to y'all. I work for y'all. Do y'all want to have it due on the 15th or the 22nd? I know a lot of people probably
22nd.
Okay. 22nd. All right, the 22nd it'll be. And as always, in this phase, we're going to work very, 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 very closely in making sure that, this paper is done properly. So we're going to begin next week by having some individualized sessions again. And what we're going to start doing next week is actually outlining the paper. Before you start writing anything, it's important that you really have a good sense of the structure of how you want to set it up. And one of the things that you'll find is that a lot of the work, a lot of the heavy lifting for this paper, you've actually done already. Let's look very quickly at the requirements for the paper itself. So follow along with me here. I'm going to go over this with y'all again. But I want to make sure, again, I have your undivided for just a moment. So your paper should be no longer than 25 typewritten pages. That doesn't mean it has to be 25 pages. That don't mean it got to be 25 pages. That don't mean it got to be 25 pages. It can be 2 pages if you wanted to. Now, obviously, with the research of this level, it's probably going to be hard to accomplish everything you want to in 2 pages, but don't feel like you got to make it stretch out. Just don't go over 25, okay? Don't go over 25. Now, look, if you get into the flow of writing and you're really feeling good about that thing and you think that you might go over, let me know and I'll show some flexibility with you. If I don't want to cut your genius, for page size. So if you feel like you might go over, let me know and I can show some flexibility in that regard. But for the most part, you should be able to get this stuff down to 25 pages or less. Quotes are allowed. Listen to me here, young people. You can use quotes. Make sure that you cite the person that you're quoting. Do not be passing off words that you did not write as your own. That's plagiarism, and that'll earn you a 0. That's plagiarism, and that'll earn you a 0. That's plagiarism, that'll earn you a 0. That's plagiarism, that'll earn you a 0. Are we clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Unmute yourselves and talk to me. I need to know this.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. All right, so you can use quotes. Just don't go over 10. Just don't go over 10. Now, this don't mean that you should aim to get 10. Don't be trying to, shoot for 10. And use the quote sparingly. Quotes should usually be used if the author is making a point of saying something in such a way that it might, it comes to across stronger than if you said it yourself. And again, you can get help from myself and the folks in the Writing Center in that regard. But just cite the quotes, man, and you're good. But don't go over 10. But the more that you write in your own words, the more points you earn. Again, I'm not looking for you just to cut and paste a whole bunch of stuff from another paper. The title page, and again, make sure the format is proper. The title page, and you do need to have a title page here. Usually you don't. The paper itself and the bibliography all must be submitted in APA format. You've been using APA throughout the semester and probably throughout your college experience. And this is probably be mainly what you'll use in grad school. So if you're not familiar with that, there are plenty of websites. Purdue OWL, I think, is one of the best. That gives you some guides on APA, but make sure you follow that to the letter. Now, look closely here, young people. Here's what you're going to be evaluated on. And everybody can see my screen, correct?
Yes, sir.
So before you submit your final paper, go through this checklist, Deja, and make sure that you're doing all these things. So one, proper formatting. What's the formatting style for this paper? What's the formatting style?
APA.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The clarity of your writing. This speaks to, like, again, knocking out those typos, grammatical mistakes and things like that. As always, again, you don't have to do that by yourself. Please get started on this early and, take it by the Writing Center, let them look at it. The technology itself, in terms of like some of the things that you can do in Microsoft Word and other word processing programs, will be able to correct and highlight some of the mistakes for you. So please make sure that you get that stuff together. The clarity and originality of your thesis. Like I said, a lot of the stuff you've done already. You already submitted a thesis assignment, correct? What I want you, so I said I want y'all copying and pasting, but you can copy and paste your own stuff. So from that research question and thesis assignment, which you got feedback for, again, in the email thread that we've created all semester, look in there, and whatever the corrected thesis and research question is, copy that, put it into the final paper. Boom. The most challenging aspects, Davicia, is going to be how well your thesis is supported by primary and secondary scholarly sources. So that's where the annotated bibliographies that you all did, you got to look through that stuff a little bit more deeply and just start to pull some of the data out and throw that into the paper. That's the part that I'm going to help most with, if you all will let me. How well you understand some of the previous research related to the topic. Again, that's part of the lit review that we talked about on Tuesday. Tuesday. Forget what day of the week it is. So on Tuesday we talked about, and if you didn't get a chance to attend class, that lecture is recorded and posted. So check that out in terms of how to effectively write research. And we talked about the lit review, just basically summarizing what the sources are saying and what you're going to contribute new to this. These points here, C and D, these are the most challenging aspects of the paper. So these are the ones that you really want to give a lot of attention to, and that you definitely want to seek out some help with. C and D, going through, but again, the good news is you have the sources already. You already got the information. We just got to take the next couple of weeks and we're going to critically analyze what you want to put from those sources into your paper. Is this clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. And then the next thing is how well you apply the methods in supporting your thesis. What is the method that we're using for the most part, young people, for this class?
Secondary analysis.
Good. So you're using secondary data analysis, where again, you're looking at secondary sources, you're looking at sources that somebody else has done already, and you're going to analyze the data in those sources and how it rejects and supports your hypothesis. But you got to actually do that. So you got to really go into those sources and dig deep. Again, you ain't gonna have to do it by yourself, I promise. And then finally, just how effectively you make the case that the topic is important to somebody beyond your personal interest in it. So Diamond, early in the paper, I want you maybe just a sentence or two, where you explain why should anybody who isn't a single parent or come from a single parent household, why should somebody that doesn't fit that criteria care about this topic? And again, those are things you can get help and assistance with as well. So here's what I would like you all to do over the weekend. Can y'all hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody ever done an outline for a paper before? Has anybody ever done an outline for a paper? If
Yes.
not, like you definitely should get into the habit of doing this. Like even for research that I do, like I don't start writing before I have an outline, where I kind of set up my thoughts. It can change, it can be fluid. But, as opposed to just sitting down writing something of this magnitude can be very challenging. So what I would like for you all to do, and does anybody like extra credit points?
Yes.
Anybody need any extra credit points? You ain't got to answer that. You keep that to yourself. But I will give you an opportunity to earn some if you can produce an outline between now and Tuesday. What are some things that you think you should have in this outline? Like, so think about it now, like, just yell out some things from me. Like, what do you think should be in the first section?
Introduction.
No wrong answers. Don't worry about if you're wrong. But what do you think? How do you think you want to start the paper? I'm sorry, Devicia.
Probably your hypothesis, like prepare from that.
Good. The question and hypothesis should be very early on. You might introduce, like, tell me your question and hypothesis one more time, Devicia, or just your research question.
What personal characteristics explains best why women stay in physically abusive relationships?
Okay, good. So you might start off with like a sentence or two, just introducing like why abusive relationships is a social concern. I'll give you some things. It's costly, like, in terms like hospital costs. It's costly in terms of like, family disruption. Probably some other data that you've seen in your sources where it might cost people economically. It might cost this for the kids. You probably know some of those things better than me, but just, just before you get into like, the science of the research question, just talk a little bit about why anybody should care about this topic. Within that though, give me at least some facts. Give me some facts, Devicia, that 15% of women are abused in their lifetime. I don't know that that's a number, but just something like that. You hear me? If you can't write this down, Devicia, go back and look at this later because I'm giving you some meat here, okay? Like, again, these are things that can help you in particular, but whatever your topic is, just give a little bit of background and then go into your research question and hypothesis. Very good, Devicia, 1 extra credit point. What do you think maybe should go after that? Anybody? And y'all should be writing some of this down. So you're going to introduce the background. So we're starting here with F, why this is important. We then go into C, where we're going to state the research question and hypothesis. What might we want to put next?
The thesis.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
The thesis statement.
That's gonna be your hypothesis itself. Like you're gonna you're gonna ask your research question and then restate your thesis statement that's gonna let readers know what the paper is about. So once you've gotten that thesis statement, what else might you want to like include? And think about it like this, right? Y'all have looked at some of these sources. How did they structure their stuff?
Like why it's important to and why it should be important to the audience.
Nope. That's where we're gonna start with the background of why it's important. Then, as we said, we're gonna start with the research question and hypothesis. What do you think? What might we want to introduce next?
Background, hypothesis.
Review.
Say it again, Devicia.
Literature review. Something like that.
That's a really good guess. One more extra credit point for you, but I might insert something else even before I get to the lit review. But that's what we're gonna do next. You're right. But we got the background statement. We got our research question and hypothesis. Devicia said we got to put the lit review in there. She's absolutely right. What should we put in? What's something that maybe we should put in between?
The history behind whatever your research topic is.
Nope. We've covered that already.
The aim or purpose.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yes, good. So you want some of that's going to be captured in your thesis statement, but yes, you can re-articulate the aim and purpose. Yes. What's some other components we might want to put here? And think about some of the things we talked about throughout the semester.
The methods.
Wait, who said that?
Janiyah.
Say it again.
The methods.
Good, excellent. 1 extra credit point, Janiyah. So then you're going to talk about your method. How are you? So you told them, Janiyah, here's my research question. Here's what I think this research question is going to be. Then you're going to lay out your method. Here is how I'm going to answer this question. Then Devicia is coming in with the lit review, like, hey, here's what everybody else has said about this topic already. And then from there, you're just going to go into your findings. Somebody break down all the different steps I just told y'all real quick in your own words.
Background, question and hypothesis, the purpose of like why it's important, the methods, literature review, and findings.
Good, excellent. So start to organize that between now and Tuesday. What extra credit point for you, Janaya? Start to organize that for me between now and Tuesday. Put it on paper. Send me what you got over the weekend. You got between now and Tuesday at 1 o'clock, and I'll give you some extra credit points for whatever you produce. I ain't gonna say whatever you produce. Don't send me no hot garbage. But are y'all clear what you're trying to do here?
Yes, sir.
You got muted out. I think somebody said something, but I didn't hear it.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody have any questions about this?
Can we like far as like us developing like our surveys and stuff, we can send like the questions to you like to approve before we include it in the final.
Yeah, absolutely. I would
Okay.
highly recommend that. Yes. So yeah, so with that in mind, like, where if you want to use other methods, you can. It's challenging at this stage, but like, so you can say secondary data analysis. I'm going to do interviews. I'm going to do surveys. I'm going to do an experiment. Like I said, like with the sources you all have looked at, in those abstracts, they pretty much set up the same way. Here's what I'm trying to find. Here's the sample that I use. Here's the method I use. Here's what I ultimately found. And if you actually go into the articles, they're going to give you like an in-depth lit review as well. So take some time to do that over, and please take some time to do this. Like we cannot afford to procrastinate at this stage. This is giving you a head start, and I think it'll be very helpful because this we'll talk about. Once you got that outline down, it just comes into like, throw in different parts of work that you've already done because you got most of your sources, and just put that into the paper. In some cases, we might need to get a few more sources, or we may find that some information that we thought was useful is not as helpful. But for the most part, we should be good in that regard. As a final point, if you do need more sources, I will highly, again, be honest with yourself about that. Because again, I know a lot of times, where as we go to this final project, again, I understand that grades are important. I want you all to get excellent grades. I really, really, really encourage you all to think beyond that. Only looking at grades and stuff, that's not actual education. And we really want to use this experience for you to get educated. So I say that to say that, I really want you to take learning about your topic seriously. I really want you to embrace that. I hope it's something that's interesting to you. And I hope you can use it as a space to educate me and your classmates about this topic. All of you are exploring things that, I only have marginal knowledge about. So really take, if you really take the time and do this right and do it seriously, your grades are going to be fine. But just really put in the time, and put in the work. And doing this outline will be a great start on that. I hope to see some evidence of this over the weekend. If anybody has any questions about anything, feel free to email me and let me know. And I'll send you Zoom links where we're going to go over your outline individually next week. So the more that you can send me, the more I can help you. Anybody have any questions before we go for the day?
You said we have until Tuesday, right?
Yes, ma'am. And don't just try and get it done, Black people. Get it done well. Listen up again to this lecture. If you're unclear about the steps that you want to follow in there, follow in terms of what you want to put in your outline, and put as much detail as you possibly can. If you want to get some feedback over this over the weekend, I'm working on my own research, and I got my own deadline that's coming up on April 1st. So I'm really going to be into that this weekend. But if you send me some feedback early, I would try very hard to give you some feedback. If you can send it by Friday afternoon. Excuse me, give me 1 second. Somebody's typing in the chat. Okay, for sure. All right, so if nobody else has any other questions, we'll leave it there for today. Get to work, young people. We're almost there, okay?
Dr. Mahan,
Well,
can I
yes,
talk to you
Mr.
about my classes?
Registration?
Yeah.
I'll send you an email in a second. Yes.
Okay.
What's going on, Janiyah Barnes?
Okay, so soon, possibly on the 30th, I had to get it approved through Student Affairs, but Social Science Society organization is planning on doing a Zoom call because this month is Women's Month.
It is.
He had came across a guest speaker. Her name is Miss Vivian Anderson. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but she started started an organization of a nonprofit it's called For Every Black Girl.
Okay.
From far as like the background and everything that I had got so far, basically she started the organization based off. I'm not sure if you remember it, but it was a situation where a young Black female had got snatched out of her chair by a resource officer. It happened a
Yeah.
while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she had started like doing things of that nature, but like far as like with her talking, I wanted her like to give insight, of course, of her organization, but like basically like what can I say, jewels and like things that students can use, and far as like her being an example, like a role model within the community. And I wanted to see, I'm reaching out to everybody within the social science department, like far as them mention it to their students. Developing a flyer right now, but like far as like getting their students involved and possibly like allowing them to receive extra credit far as this event. And I want to see, would that be something that you would be interested in doing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You said
Okay.
so you say you're gonna do it on Tuesday the 30th?
Yes.
What time?
The time she said that she have available would be at 3:00. So we're aiming for 3. But the only reason why I'm asking so it won't interfere with class time, or if push comes to shove, then that can be like far as like your students to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I got another class at that time, but we'll it shouldn't be a problem to integrate where we can have the class join as a group. And
Mhm.
I definitely will let my other students know and field it as an extra credit opportunity for them. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to support.
Okay. I appreciate it. I gotta meet with my other advisors today, as far as like setting everything and getting everything approved. So hopefully you'll hear from me before the end of Saturday, no later than Saturday afternoon.
Okay, for sure. Yes. I'll put out some fillers to students when I meet with them today and tomorrow, and let them know that something may be coming up. And then once you know the exact time, let me know. But it'll definitely be that day, correct?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna also forward you the article, like far as like her background and then other background information towards the event with the young female who got snatched out of her chair with the resource officer.
Now that's what's up. I appreciate you putting this together. It sounds like a dope and worthwhile event. And yeah, I'll be more than happy to help any way I can. And I'll send you the information with the updated audit and program of study later this evening. Everything else is good to go with the schedule though?
Yes, sir. I just had emailed you about the audit because I had came across a person that's graduating early, and she wasn't included like far as like any plans or anything. And then like they was like that Dr. Eldermeyer had mentioned like audits and everything, like make sure you got everything squared away. So basically, long story short, Dr. Eldermeyer told the student like basically to make sure that you are graduating, even though she did sign like off on her audit and everything. So I want
Absolutely.
clear.
No, absolutely. Now, I want y'all to have all those ducks in a row. So yeah, I'd be more than happy to. And it'd be different stuff y'all have to do on the academic side that's different from like Dr. Edelmeyer's office. And like,
Mhm.
I think y'all got to do something with like the registrar and the library. So yeah.
Like,
But so I'll make sure that's because it's important that you get on top of that anyway, because there are times where students have met the academic requirements and they good on our side, but they might owe some money or they might have something with student affairs. So
Mhm.
yeah, we'll make sure everything is copacetic in that regard.
Okay, cool.
But you're definitely on track on the academic side. But yeah, get all that other information as best you can.
Okay, but I did put my classes down. It just says that I'm waiting to get approved. So whenever you have time.
Okay,
So,
okay. I'm sorry. I'll do that in 2 minutes.
okay, cool.
All right.
Alrighty.
All
sir.
right, thank you, Ms. Burns. I'll be looking for that outline and make note of the presentation date, and I'll send you more. We'll talk more about that soon as well.
Okay.
And have a wonderful afternoon.